Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth for an MJ Sector review. Today's Thursday, May 27th, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing as the topic of the day, Cresco Labs, so CL stock, and the stock was up over 5% today after it reported revenue. Q1 revenue increase of 169% to 178 million. So we'll do an in-depth analysis of Cresco, and I'll put some timestamps in the description below, but we'll run over some news and events on the day today, and then we'll look at CL and the overall US and Canadian MJ sectors. So again, before we jump in, make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel. So Cresco Labs Q1 revenue increases 169% to 178 million. So they missed on the EPS slightly, but beat on revenue. And you can check out this full highlight here for all of the details on that. But essentially that came just after they announced the appointment of Sydney Dillard to its board of directors, and Sydney Dillard to effective immediately assume that position. And Mrs. Dillard is an experienced financial services executive with over 30 years of experience providing advice and capital solutions to Fortune 500 corporations and middle market companies. So taking a look at the estimates here, EPS came in at negative 0.0091 versus an estimate of 0.0023. So negative EPS there, starting to look like a Canadian LP a little bit, and revenue coming in at 178 million versus 170 expected. So congrats to the bulls there. Seem to be responding fairly well on the day today. And AYR Strategies Q1 revenue increases 74% to 58.4 million. So moving on to the charts. So CL, nice bounce here off of the lows, but we're still in a daily downtrend at this point, and we are trying to get as big of a bounce as possible here on the daily time frame to allow for a higher low. Bull's got quite a bit of room here, right? We could pull, if we can continue the bounce tomorrow, we could pull back essentially about 7%, but we're not set up well here at the moment for a higher low. This is all coming off the low, so we need to see as big of a bounce as possible. If we can bounce for the next day or two, we have a lack of resistance all the way up here to 1676 on the daily time frame. So as long as we maintain the hourly uptrend, the daily bounce is still underway. If we lose the hourly uptrend, then the daily lower high is likely set. And we also have EMA 26 there, that white line sitting at 1462. So we'll be watching that level as well. And really at this point, it's still a potential daily bear flag if we just bring up our Fibonacci retracement tool. Essentially, we could bounce to about 1465. So if we break above that, then that is going to be bullish. But taking a look at this falling wedge pattern as well, I drew it here on the weekly, and we had support test there, and this comes after the backdrop. Did a video yesterday, massive rally potentially coming to the MJ space because of the legalization bill that could be soon hitting Congress and passing through all chambers of Congress. So if we see that, that could be a massive wave of hype. And like I said, a lot of names are looking for bottoms, weekly and monthly consolidation. And if you entered CL here, it's a little bit risky. I don't normally play earnings, but I've entered, I think I've got an average of around $9, actually just under $10 on CL. It's in my long-term no touch. I also own it through MSOS. But let me know in the comments below if you're bullish on CL. It's one of my top 2 favorite MSOs. My MSOs in terms of favorite, I like Cura, CL, and then BAM. And BAM, I like BAM. I like CL and Cura as the top. Cura, then CL is the top major MSO. And then for a small cap, I like BAM because of the craft aspect as well, and just the overall profitability, strong cash position. But nice entry here off of that support, and we are approaching resistance and EMA 26 as well. So need to be a bit cautious, but we do have a lack of resistance up till 1676, like I said. So as long as we maintain the daily or the hourly uptrend, the daily bounce is still underway. Excuse me. And just going to get a drink of water here. Did 2 videos back to back. So if we continue this bounce on the daily, we'll want to see, what I want to see is another bounce or two get above this resistance line here from the falling wedge, and then see a bit more of a bounce, and then that'll allow a lot more room to form a higher low. So going to be banking on that, and taking a look at the weekly chart. We are still extremely bearish on all levels of the weekly chart here. We do have the 10-week moving average up at 1512. Can't speak today. So 1512 could be another potential resistance zone, and $15 psychological. So that's potentially where we could bounce and top out tomorrow. That's what I'll be looking for anyway. We did have a bullish cross of the 50 and the 100 weekly moving average. And we've yet to test the 50 weekly moving average down at 1222. But not expecting a test of that right away. I think that we could be potentially forming a bottom, as I mentioned in my video from yesterday. And look at that beautiful entry off of the 200-day moving average sitting at 1327. Oh man, that was the go signal. So we had a lot of similar situations, right? We had TLRY with a similar move bouncing off the 200-day moving average. There's a few names, not going to bring them all up, but you can see that we all bounced off the 200-day moving average, and that, in my opinion, was, screaming from the rooftop buy. And after, Tilray dropped 80% or so from the highs, and just CL from its recent high up at 2220, we've got a drop here of about 40%. So again, not expecting as much of a percentage swing either to the upside or the downside on the MSOs, because it's just not a whole lot of big money, right? So we're not seeing the games being played as much. But with Tilray, we ran hundreds and thousands of percent, and that's exactly why I've been bullish on the LPs since the summer. And then now here we are down 80%. So the volatility is there because of the liquidity and because of the access to major exchanges. So going to end it there, taking a look at the bull and bear list. We'll move on from CL, but once again, crash to the bulls. FLGC, Bev, and Acreage led the decline today. On the bull list, we had TAUG, Ian, and Cresco. So moving on to the Canadian space. Actually, I want to highlight something real quick here. So another indicator. So the granddaddy, the leader, so to speak, in the US space, in my opinion, is MSOS. Again, because it's listed on a major exchange, and we have a ton of volume. CGC being the leader in the Canadian space. In turn, I don't mean that it's the strongest at the moment. I just mean that generally it gives us sentiment for the Canadian space direction. And I'll bring up CGC in a moment, but it's in a daily uptrend, and we could be potentially bottoming out here on the weekly. We're breaking the weekly inside bar bullish, and look at MSOS confirming a daily uptrend here and breaking the weekly inside bar bullish. So the fact that MSOS and the fact that CG, and it's a potential inverse head and shoulders here on the weekly as well. So it's entirely possible that this is our bottom after holding EMA 26. Again, let me know in the comments below. Do you think the bottom is in? Are we due for a massive rally? I'm liking what I'm seeing. Weekly bounce underway for MSOS. And close near the high of the day. We've got a lack of resistance here up until 43.30 and then 44.14. So once again, congrats to the bulls. Moving on to the Canadian space. So Hexo closed at the high of the day today as well. We've got a lack of resistance here up until the gap at 716 and 753. And holding this uptrend line today, we backtested it perfectly. And we backtested EMA 26 and confirmed support. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, which would mean further upside and maybe even another potential gap up tomorrow. But they don't make it easy, right? This is what the market makers do, is they run it and they make it hard. How long did we run before we saw final daily consolidation? We ran for 9 days, trading days in a row, and then we saw a daily bull flag confirm. So again, we're seeing that difficulty with trying to establish long positions, and then here we are, right, just getting smacked down from that high at 753, and we had a lower high every single. So it was essentially the opposite. We had a higher low, higher low, higher low, and then lower high for the last 8 candles in a row. So going from one extreme to the next, and here we are, set our new higher low here at 564 and a lack of resistance up to 753. But I'm extremely bullish on Hexo at the moment. CGC again changing its daily trend here with a low, high, higher low, and higher high. Rejected, got over EMA 26, but closed below it. And again, breaking out on the weekly, breaking that inside bar bullish. So I'm starting to, we also have earnings coming up on the 1st of June, so that could be a sector catalyst. That'll be on Tuesday next week, so that is going to be a big deal, and we'll be watching that extremely closely. Hexo's earnings on the 17th, 3 weeks from tomorrow. Cannot wait for that one. Let me know in the comments below, do you think they're going to finally hit 50 million a quarter in revenue? I think that they could easily hit 40. 50 is going to be a stretch, but I would say more than likely my estimate is going to be somewhere around the 40 million area. But keep in mind, once Zenobus and 48 North come in, we could be looking at 60 to 75 million in revenue per quarter. Exciting times ahead. So on the bull and bear list, we had PCLO, PWR, and Sundial leading the decline. On the bull list, we had RIV, TGOD, and ACB. So TGOD mentioned in the group yesterday to a few of my fellow members, and a couple people asked if we should be taking profits on TGOD after I recommended a buy signal, which was at 29 cents here. I said we had support at 28 cents, and it's been acting as support for quite a while now. We had multiple touches. Held at 28, held at 28 and a half, 30, 29. So very, very low risk. You know, you're risking 1 penny essentially, or 2 pennies, and you would have made up almost 50%. It's up 50% from the lows there, just under. It looks like. So a couple people yesterday asked me if they should sell. I said I wouldn't sell it if I were you. We weren't daily overbought yet, and we had increasing bull volume. We had a lack of resistance. We closed over 38. We had a lack of resistance up till 65 on the daily chart. But now is a little bit of a different story. We're approaching daily overbought. So scaling out into strength, if you are in a day trade or a swing trade position, just a short-term position, may not be the worst idea right now to at least start taking some profits. But again, lack of resistance up to 65. And this is why I said the whole sector, I believe, was going to rally together, both US and Canadian MJ, because of the lack of that resistance and how much we had pulled back across the board, right? So hopefully somebody was able to find value in those early signals that I provided for the last couple of weeks, and I'll continue to provide as many signals and provide as much value to you guys as possible. Make sure to smash the like and subscribe to the channel on your way out, and appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today. We'll see you tomorrow after market close. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth for an MJ Sector review. Take care.